question from Eric, who lives in Melbourne, and it's somebody I really enjoy dancing with. So, hi Eric. The question was what comes into my head when I'm dancing? Like, what do I think about? And I would say that usually, if I'm having a good dance, there is not much that goes on in my head because I'm very much in the moment. If I catch thoughts in my head, it's usually a bad sign that I'm not into what I'm doing, or I'm thinking of how I'm being perceived, and that usually really gets in the way of inspiration and I think spontaneity. So when I'm dancing, the first thing that I tell myself is I'm not going to do anything, and I just really want to listen to the music, dance as simple as I can, and be with my partner. And then from that foundation, my partner or the music sometimes says something that I can't help myself but to respond to it. And then I find that usually those footworks are more meaningful than the ones that come from a place of anxiety where you want to prove yourself or show that you can do footwork. I definitely remember what it was like being a beginner dancer, and I would have my partner lead a swing out, and then by the second one I'll be like, oh, I could do a footwork. And then the third swing out was about to arrive, but then it turned into a circle and I couldn't do my variation. And so I was always trying to guess what would be the next move and which variation I could make. And obviously that came from a lack of experience. The more you learn variation, the more you'll realize that they are not so much in your head at some point, but more in your body. So as you're dancing and you're feeling a particular way, one footwork may come out, or maybe the beginning of that footwork, and then you'll resolve it a different way. Because you want your dancing to be alive. So all those footworks are examples of things to try, but I think for me they're not the end goal. The goal is just to explore movement. And then you'll find your own. Maybe you'll find something that works better for you. Maybe some of them will never work. We all have different bodies, and what's important is that you're true to yourself. So find the music, find your partner, be in rhythm, and then let those footwork variation inspire you to do your own and to dance your own way. It's definitely better if you're spontaneous about this variation. So try not to overthink it. Experience will definitely help. So allow yourself to fail over and over. And the best time, I think, is either social dancing or practicing, because no one really cares if you mess up. It's kind of fun because we're all messing up together. So yeah, remember to bring it back to dancing with your partner and making that cozy. Otherwise it could be, you know, when you're dancing with somebody who's trying to impress you, and they do too much and it's really annoying. You don't want to be that person. So take those variations, I think, with a grain of salt, or take them as a way to learn new paths for your body. But if you remember one of them, it's good enough. And usually that's what happens. I have those periods, I think, where I probably have 3 or 4 variations in my body at the moment. And then the next 2 or 3 months, they're different ones. And that's totally okay, because we all constantly change, and maybe sometimes you're going to feel a certain way, and some other days you're going to feel like doing more relaxed things. If you know anything about me, you know that I really enjoy to follow, and I'm not a very flashy dancer. But as I've been dancing for a while now, I have found more ways to express myself in those basic movements, and footwork is part of it. And I think what you have to do is learn a bunch of variation, do them in a not so natural way at first, fail a bunch of times, and then eventually they will come out of you without you knowing that it's there. So what I try to do is practice a variation so much that it's more in my body than in my head, so that when I'm faced with a situation, it just comes out without being something that's calculated. And also a lot of the time, frankly, I kind of throw something and then I deal with it. So I find that it helps to have a rhythmical idea, but to let the shape happen. So it's not so much about the look for me, it's more about the way it feels to dance with someone, and then the rhythmical choices you make, and then the shape will be dependent. The shape will be depending on where your partner is leading you, how it's comfortable, how far you are from each other, but it's not so much about the look. One thing that also really helps is to keep the feet under yourself, because if you're stepping really big, then you're not really in control of your own body, and if things change, you can't balance. So keeping the feet under yourself at all times, putting the priority into dancing with your partner and with the music, and then letting the experience speak for itself. But it does take a while, and you're gonna make bad decisions, but it's fun. Like, sometimes it's really surprising. You have a terrible idea and you manage to deal with it, and then something's beautiful come out of it. Again, I think for me it works really well if I don't put too much pressure on myself, and if I don't have it come from my brain. It's really just a feeling, like it's like the music gets you or your partner gets you. It's really not calculated, something that is very spontaneous and really fun. So I hope that it puts things in perspective, because maybe as you're learning the variation, you think more of what it looks from the outside, and hopefully it can remind you that dancing with the person and listening to the music is what should absolutely come first. And then as you try to keep rhythm, you'll find ways to deal with your own stupid ideas, and maybe it will look cool, you never know. I hope this inspires you. Again, if you have any questions about following or technique, I'm here, because there is nowhere else to go. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good day, and see you next time.